Hey y'all, and welcome back to a new video of a game that I played earlier today, in which I kind of got into an awful position but managed to save it. So let's just get into it. We know the drill. I start off with d4. My opponent decides to go g6, which is an interesting move, just deciding to go for maybe a King's Indian or a modern. I decide to go e4. I like to play 3 pawns attack here. Pretty normal stuff. I just think that it gives white a very healthy advantage. Just simple play approaches here with like something like this or something like this, and we even have like h4 ideas in the future. And life is good. Life is good for white here, and I really like these positions. After d5, I go e5. This is what you're supposed to do to blunt the bishop. So now this bishop is kind of garbage. My opponent goes knight h6. I go knight f3. And my opponent decides to go over this move bishop g4, which is already an inaccuracy on move 5, which is kind of absurd, seeing as my opponent is slightly better than I am. So I thought here for a little bit, and I thought bishop g5 isn't really that good of a move. I don't see what's stopping me from playing the move h3 and forcing captures. And so I do, right? h3, if he goes back, his bishop is trapped with g4, of course. And if he like comes back here, then he's wasted time, right? And he's basically conceding to me that his plan of bishop g4 was a mistake, right? So he's been basically forced to take on f3. I take back with the queen. I don't see any point to take back with the g-pawn. My opponent goes knight f5, and I think here for a little bit and play this move c3 because I didn't think there was any other way to defend this pawn, because I thought if I played this move bishop here, I was not doing very well. Like, my opponent can even like start blowing things up. Yeah, I thought c5 was a good move here for black, but it's actually even better to play the move f6 and start blowing things up immediately. So I didn't like that, and instead play c3. My opponent goes h5, trying to stop the move g4 because he obviously doesn't like this. It kicks out his knight, and I'm doing very well in that position. And I thought it did stop the move g4, and I immediately made a mistake. I thought g4 was impossible because I thought my rook was hanging, but my queen now defends my rook, which is a little bit silly in this position. I'm just winning because my queen is getting in, and I'm just a lot better. Like, if he comes back here, probably, oh, not that. Actually, yeah, f5 to open up the bishop to attack the knight. And then, yeah, I mean, this is pretty much over. Like, my opponent can already resign here. But anyway, I missed that idea. Just a little silly mistake there. And I said plays bishop d3, which still keeps advantage. And simple idea, I want to take the knight, damage his pawns, and do good. And I thought that it was a little rough for him to do anything here, because after e6, I understood, and I was going to play the move, okay, if I can draw arrows, I was going to play the move g4 to kick out the knight after e6, and then I thought, okay, I'm doing quite well, and I'm probably winning the game. But instead, my opponent decides to let me have it, and plays this move c6. e6 isn't that hard. If he plays e6, I assumed that he was like a little scared of g4 again, but here it's actually not correct. After queen h4, I would have had to find that. I think I would be able to find that. But I could even play like bishop e3, maybe like knight a6, knight a3 here. It's interesting stuff, Actually, bishop e3 is a lot more accurate because now queen h4 ends up with bishop f2. But either way, bishop d3, and my opponent goes c6, and I was like, really? c6? Allowing me to damage your pawns like this? I didn't think that was any good, because then he's never going to castle this way, and castling this way is a little rough with c6 because there's some issues. Like, I can play c4, I can play b4, I can try to start an attack over there, and I thought, that's not the best idea, so I thought for a little bit, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this move, and I took the knight. But it's wrong. What I had instead is I again had this move g4, and what I should have done this. I should have done this because again after hg I would have had a winning position here. After like f5 in this position, it's even better now because the bishop defends this pawn. But I missed it. I missed it again, and that's a little awkward, but my move is still okay. Bishop f5 keeps advantage. I have a very nice, healthy advantage, something that you're likely to get in a 3-pawns attack if you know what you're doing, which I think I do. Now, after gf, I went for this move bishop d2. Idea being I'm just trying to get my pieces out, like knight a3 next. I didn't think that knight here was any good because then I would have to like come over here. I didn't like my knight on the square. I wanted my knight on c2, right? So that's my idea. Queen b6. I didn't see anything else besides b3, so I played it. a5. I went this move queen d3, which I thought was kind of smart. There was two moves that I was like really considering here, like either knight a3 or queen d3. The reason I didn't play knight e3, I basically just thought that queen d3 was better. Like I thought queen d3, e6, and I would have some play. And if he ever played a4, which is what happens in the game, he does play a4 here. I was like, okay, I go b4 pretty quickly. What I can't do here, I can't just fall asleep at the wheel and lose. Like I'm not. That's pretty bad. Like I probably have to go a4 and get into some weird position. Maybe he doesn't push. Yeah, probably not, like knight d7 or something. And it gets into some weird position where I don't even know if I'm better anymore. Yeah, I'm not. And so I just can't fall asleep at the wheel. I play b4 first. The pawn is weak. And I thought he had to play e6. But he goes knight a6. If he played e6, my position is no longer better. And that's a little tough to understand. But I was going to play knight a3 and try to play for b4 with like rook b1 and stuff. This is my idea. I thought that I had like some play here. And I do. This is like the engine's top line. But actually the only move for black is to play bishop f8 and like skewer the pawn to the knight so then I can't play b4. Very nice idea. Everything else is losing. But instead after knight a6, I thought for a while. I thought for a long while here. And I was like, I could take this pawn. I could take this pawn. It's free. It's a free pawn, right? I didn't miss that. But what I thought was, I ended up thinking, I kind of overthought it. I could have just taken this pawn. This is the top engine line. Take this pawn, it's +2. But I overthought, and I was thinking, you know what? I think knight a3 is even better. And this is what I played. I played knight a3, and I thought, I'm crashing through with b5 here. I'm crashing through with b5. My opponent's position kind of sucks. And I was like, his king's weak. This pawn is still hanging, and I thought that this was just like the best way to play. But I'm wrong. Knight a3 is still a good move. Don't get me wrong. But I should have played queen f5 in 2 seconds and not even thought this long. But I thought a minute and played knight a3. Now e6, defending the pawn. I went b5. This is the whole plan, right? I wanted to play b5. I wanted to open up. I want to open up black, right? So I want to go for like some here. If he takes, I was thinking I might take with the queen, but I ended up deciding to go here instead and like put the knight here, maybe rook b1 in some lines. It gets really scary for black in all these lines, which is why I wanted to play this way. And I thought this was pretty smart. Actually, yeah, this is also fine, but it's not. Oh, it's not fine. It's not fine at all. Why is it not fine? I just bishop f8 and he stops my infiltration. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. But anyway, my opponent goes knight c7. Yeah, I understand why this move works. And I played rook b1. And I was arguing, basically, okay, rook b1. I'm defending the pawn. I'm opening up some attack, so I want to go here now. And then he's going to be forced to take with the queen. And then I might put the knight here. I might trade queens. I might have a nice file. I might castle, bring the rook over and double up and try to win a pawn that way on the queen side instead of the king side here. I was kind of regretting that I didn't take on f5, but it's all said and done. I'm okay. My opponent goes c5. And I was thinking, oh no. I was thinking, oh no. Immediately I thought, oh, c5. I must have like missed something really badly because c5 immediately tells me that I'm probably in a world of trouble because now my pawn is just a weakness, and I had to think here for a while, but I ended up playing the best move. I played DC. This is what the computer likes. The low-level engine, the game review engine doesn't like it, but Stockfish on Depth 25 likes it. Oh wait, no, Stockfish on Depth, what is it? 22 likes it. Why am I on limited? That kind of ruins a lot. Let me give me a second. Oh, I guess they changed it. That's weird. I didn't know that they changed it. Either way, c5. I played dc, and my idea here is to go b6, right? Because now my pawn gets opened up. It's no longer a weakness, no longer blockaded by the queen. I'm hitting the knight. He can capture my knight, but I thought this was bad because of bc7 and I get in with the queen. That's the most important part. I get in with the queen. This pawn is weak. Like if he just takes everything, queen b5, and he loses. Like he just loses here. And I mean, like I like winning the game, right? I think that's pretty fun. So instead of doing that, he ended up playing this move knight back to a6, and I immediately was like, okay, I'm gonna pounce now. I'm gonna pounce. Now I think that my opponent has made some inaccuracies. I know I'm better. I play knight b5. It gets a great symbol because it enters this tactic where he can't take because of discovered check, but it's really not that great of a move. It makes a lot of sense to me. I thought it was like the best move. And after bishop f8, I'm better here, and I play correctly. I keep playing correctly. I keep playing accurately, but it's still really rough in this position. I go bishop e3, which is the best move. It's the best move, hands down. This is the best move. All the engines agree this is the best move. I hit the queen. I defend my pawn, and I get my bishop out into a more active square. My opponent goes queen c6, and I thought, you know what? What I gotta do, I gotta bring my rook into the game. This rook is my worst piece, right? This rook is my worst piece. All my other pieces are doing something. What I want to do is castle, bring my rook over here, and play c4. That's not a bad idea. That's the best plan. And I castle. The engine at depth like 25 says it's the best move, but you know, game review says it's inaccurate. And I castle, right? And what I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna bring my rook over here, and I'm gonna play c4. But after the move rook g8, which I thought was inaccurate, by the way, I thought rook g8 wasn't very good because, yes, it opens up this attack with like this threat of d4, but I didn't think it was anything good because now he can't castle that way ever, and he's basically just giving me information. Right now, I know he's going to castle that way, and I understood here that I was much better. I understood in this position that I was probably like plus one, I thought. And then I just give it all away. I saw the tactic. I didn't like miss the tactic or anything. I saw d4 opening up the queen to attack the bishop, right? I saw this. But for some reason, I played knight c7 check anyway. And my idea with this move, I was like, oh, after knight c7, pawn takes, and like I don't know, like if queen takes, I have like some checks here. I'm gonna pick up this pawn. This is my like original plan, and like if he doesn't do that, if he plays d4, I thought, oh, I gotta have something there, right? I gotta have something. There's gotta be some way to save my bishop and my king at the same time. I don't know what came over me or why I calculated like that, but that is very incorrect. d4 and I'm lost. d4, I'm losing the game. It's not a fun time when you get hit with d4 and you realize, wow, I'm such a stupid idiot. What's wrong with me? I could have played like queen here, pinning the queen, so then there's no like things here. But I mean, like this is just, that's miserable. Like even here, like, oh, rook g2 is a draw. Wait, what? Rook g2, king h1, queen takes b5, rook b5, rook g8 takes. Oh, and he's not in time to take my bishop here. Not in time to take my bishop here. Okay, well, he would take my bishop first, and then I would be winning. But he would be winning. But anyway, in this position, I played a better move than queen b5 because I didn't want to trade queens. I played this move rook f2, which I thought was very accurate. I'm defending the pawn. I understand that I lost my bishop. I'm not gonna like try and like cry about it and like be like, oh no, I lost my bishop. I'm gonna lose the game. Oh gosh, oh drat. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna understand that I can't just sit around and die, right? I can't just die. So I'm gonna play accurately. I'm gonna play the best moves to the best of my ability. After d3, I played rook fb2, simultaneously defending this rook, controlling mate, and maybe opening up some attack on this pawn in the future. Remember, this pawn is still one square away from queening. Like if he takes, I'm winning. If he takes, I immediately am winning after this, which is cool. And I realized that. I realized that I have a really big attack if he does that. So my opponent doesn't do that. He goes bishop c5. I can't take. He's threatening this move, disconnecting my rook from my king and discover check. So I thought I had to go king h2. Getting my king on the side of the board and dodging any pins. I didn't want to go king h1 because I thought that walked into this pin on this pawn, so I didn't want to do that. So I thought king h2 was best, and I'm right. Cool. My opponent goes b6. Now I'm going to keep making threats. I decided to go rook d1. This is kind of a Hail Mary threat. It's not very deep. Basically, like if he plays like anything correctly, he's fine. But it's threatening queen here and like promoting with checkmate, which is cool. Like just for this, yeah, he takes checkmate. But he's not gonna blunder that. I didn't think he was gonna blunder that, but you never know. My opponent takes on c7. Now I go this move queen b5, and I thought, okay, after king e7, he's probably a lot better because I can't get my rooks in. I can't do anything. And I probably can resign at that point. That's kind of the point where I can resign. But he gives me hope. He gives me hope. He plays king f8. And I was like, that's not correct. I immediately said, that's not the right move. Because I again understood that he can't allow my rook to get in. Rook d7, and now I can make serious threats, serious tactical threats against his pieces. My opponent goes queen c8. I decide to play this move rook b1, which is the best move again. I want to double up on this file and make more threats towards his pieces. That's kind of the whole point of this game. Again, I have not again, but I do have a minute and 27 on the clock, which is a little scary. But my opponent makes another misstep. He goes rook a5. Natural move, hitting my queen, trying to like take eyes off my rook. But I think he just missed queen d3. I think he just missed this move because queen d3 kind of just saves everything, which is nice. And it reinvigorates the threat of rook here, which would be winning the queen, of course. My opponent goes back. Now, rook d1. Now my rooks are going to be connected. My next move is very simple. I want to go queen here. I want to go queen b5 and get in with all of my pieces. Now my opponent goes king g7, tries to keep it safe, and I realize, okay, what he is gonna do, he's probably gonna try and like run over here somewhere, maybe to like h1. I gotta be there when he gets there, so I immediately, without hesitating, I play this move in like 2 seconds or something, 9 seconds actually. I played queen e2, and I was arguing, okay, now my queen is getting in. I'm attacking this pawn. If he pushes the pawn up, I can get my queen in to h4, h5 always. And if he like defends the pawn, then I get my queen in like this in, and it's cool, right? So rook h8, queen e1, like fraction of a second spent. I already know that this is what I'm gonna play. Plays h4, tries to stop me, but I have g3 opening up the position. Now my queen can get in on the g file pretty easily, and it's a little terrifying. He can't take. Taking is probably losing. It's almost losing. It's kind of rough here. Like king f8. I mean, this is scary. This is scary. I can probably get in with like queen g5, threatening this check again. And actually, the only way to survive is rook e8. This is the only way for my opponent. After queen g7, rook f8. It seems like my attack is over. Oh, it's not over. It's still not over. There's still more. Queen g2 coming back, hitting some things. It's scary. That's my point. It's scary. I'm making threats. g3. My opponent goes queen c6. The best move. Doing a couple of things. First of all, connects the rooks. Most importantly. Second of all, he might try to come in on this like area over here with like something over here. Not now, but like eventually it could work. So I gotta be careful of that too. I take on h4. Idea being, I simply want to get my queen up and win the game. He has a couple of moves to survive. He has these king moves like king f8 survives again. King back here survives. King f8 is kind of scary actually. King f8, check, takes, check, king g7, queen g3. This is scary. King h7 and he's fine. That's kind of scary. I don't know, like even this maybe. But I guess just rook g8 and I probably lose in that line. Yeah, yeah, just rook g8 and there's nothing I can do. Um, well, yeah. Anyway, that is just to say that this position is terrifying, and my opponent immediately blunders. He plays the move queen f3. On the surface, it's pretty obviously a bad move because it immediately allows me to go queen g1 and like really attack him, which is like what I saw. Obviously I see this, and I go queen g1 in 0 time. And what's funny is that the only move here, the only move that doesn't lose for black is an incredible tactic, and that's the move queen to g4. I didn't see this in a while in ages, but I'll go over that later. I want to show you how the game ends. My opponent goes king f8, and now a very simple checkmate. Rook d8 takes, king e7, and queen g5. My opponent decides to resign here, but his only move is this, and this is a checkmate. Yeah, pretty nice stuff, but I do want to show you what happens after queen g4, which is an incredible tactic that I didn't see at all because I'm a human, but the computer saw it. Queen g4, I go hg, I have to go hg. Now rook h4, king g2 loses actually due to e2. King g2 loses to e2 and I lose. Also, I don't know why I would allow this, so let's go king g3. Let's go king g3, keep it normal. If rook g4 here and takes, I'm better. I'm up in exchange. I should be probably winning this game. So he can't do that. So then what's the answer? The answer here is e2 now. e2 now. If I take on g4, then takes, and I lose, right? But takes here, and actually, what is going on? a3 is the top engine line. You know what? We're not gonna look at this line. Actually, I've changed my mind. This line is stupid. Either way, yeah, queen g4 is absurd, and I don't think anyone is able to find that unless they're like a grandmaster. That's a crazy move. Either way, yeah, I won this game. Pretty cool stuff, right? Pretty cool stuff. I guess 2300, right? That's a pretty strong win. I haven't been 2300s in a while. And another thing, I'm up to 2216, which is 8 points away from my peak, which is always nice. And yeah, I'm going for 2300 myself. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found this entertaining, instructive, all of the above. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, do all the normal things that YouTubers tell you to do. And yeah. Oh, also one more thing. I have a Twitch channel, and I'm going to be streaming there pretty consistently. Like recently, I've started streaming there a couple times, and yeah, go check that out. It'll be in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found this entertaining. Good evening and good night.